Well, that looks a little painful. Howdy, folks. Welcome. I am, as per usual, I am just trying to get everything set up here down to the last minute. But you made it. We made it. Welcome to the late shift, everyone. I'm Robert, amateur radio call sign W5ITR. And tonight we're going to talk about how to get your Meshtastic device set up for Hamvention. You guys have likely you've likely saw that they have released the flasher. So we're going to talk about how to get your device set up if you don't want to flash your device, right? If you don't want to actually change your firmware, how do you play with all the kids? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about why you might want to be in that camp, right? Why you might just not want to flash your device. So we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a little while. All right, let's see. Welcome to everyone who's joined the stream. It's nice to see some folks out there in green. Hello to you channel members. Cooley, I saw you out there first. You get the first prize tonight. Thanks for being here early. Usually helps me get things set up. I can make sure my chat's working and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I'm having some trouble with it, so didn't help me tonight. But it wasn't your fault. It was certainly mine. MQTT is still up, Tim, so we can talk about that a little bit later tonight as well. For those of you who may not be able to go to Hamvention this year, I'll be sharing some of the Meshtastic channels via MQTT, so at least you have a chance to feel like you're there. And we'll talk about that just a little bit as well. All right, let's see here. I had a pretty eventful week. I'll share some of that with you guys too, but let me just get my housekeeping done. Let me get a little bit of rearranging finished here. Why do you have to be difficult? Just update your firmware. I hear you. It's never always that easy though, right? It's just never quite that easy. But let me go ahead and kick off a couple of these items here. I want to make everyone aware of the community list. Right there's the URL. Make sure you join that if you have not already. This is where I'll tell you about things going on the channel. I send out an very occasional newsletter, but this is also how you get signed up for giveaways on the channel. So if you like free stuff and you're not giving up too much info here, your name, your email address, I like to get your call sign. I like to try to connect screen names with call signs when I can. And tell me about, tell me what you like, what you'd like to see me spend time on the channel here, so we can make sure it's interesting for the folks that are playing along. All right. Let's see here. So you guys may be aware that we had a string of tornadoes here in North Texas last week. So, we had a great late shift last week, and all was well. And then Saturday, things kind of went sideways on us here in North Texas. Let me see here. I think I've got some pictures I can show you guys. First of all, here's what we're going to be talking about here tonight. I always like to show the T-Deck because they always put a pretty picture on there. But we're going to be talking about the Hamvention 2026 firmware, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier. But yeah, here's this will give you guys an idea of what I was dealing with last week. So that little tornado symbol right there in the middle of the screen, right in that kind of that green portion of that hook. You guys might not be able to see it, but there's a little dot right there that says home. That's me. That's my house. So, and this was, looks like about 9:43 Saturday night. So this was a nighttime tornado that we had ripping through North Texas. And, thankfully I'm able to say I was one of the lucky ones. We had a lot of folks that had a lot of really severe damage that lost a lot of property. We lost a couple of lives here in our county as well. It was this was the most real deal tornado type experience I've had to deal with. So, a first and hopefully a last for me. This is not something you want to go through. Again, I was very fortunate. We didn't have a whole lot of damage to, some of the things that are most important, right? Our home only had a few minor issues. Now we do have something going on with our roof. We'll find out more about that once we get an inspection, but we lost some things like shutters and less important type things. Our vehicles have some hail damage, but by and large it's not a problem. But I do have some pictures here that'll show you guys. This one I think is pretty interesting. So this is I think it's about a 1/2 inch pipe that holds up a lawn ornament. It's, kind of a windmill style lawn ornament. And you can see what it did. I mean, it just bent it straight over. And then that windmill was a projectile that went flying right past a couple of our vehicles. Didn't hit either one, thankfully, because it's all metal. And it's got some mass to it. It would have done some much more damage. But anyhow, this is kind of gives you an idea of some of the force that we were dealing with. We had a lot of tree damage, right? So we had some really nice big oak trees that were blown over. You can see it just picked this up, pulled it out of the ground by the roots. This was probably 65 foot, 70 foot tall oak tree. We had some trees that were just snapped off. And again, it's just kind of crazy how some of this stuff goes down, how it happens. We had one tree, huge tree. This tree here is probably 2.5 feet across at the base, and the top of it just fell across our driveway. So this was I spent all day Sunday clearing this just so we could get the vehicles out the driveway and up to the gate. So, this is the kind of stuff that we were dealing with primarily. We did have some minor damage to vehicles. Like I said, we had some hail and some of those types of things. But here's a knee that, luckily didn't fall across the road, fell along the fence line. We have a bunch of fencing that's all boogered up. But, this is the kind of stuff that we were dealing with. And unfortunately we had... Yeah, this is right here on the ranch, Paul. These are all pictures just from my place. And then it also hit the barn just for good measure and took a good chunk of the roof off the barn. So, but thankfully all the goats were good, all the dogs are good, we are good. So, but just a ton of work ahead of us to get all this stuff cleaned up and, dealing with insurance companies, dealing with the stress of it. All of it is just, it's just unfortunate. And I mean, again, we were just so lucky because, I mean, when you drive down the roads around my house here, there's buildings that are gone. There's roofs that are gone from homes, right? Not just shops and barns and those types of things. So we were really lucky. We were without power also for 4 days, and that's the longest. I think that is, yeah, the longest stretch that I've been without power at any time. I mean, I think back to a few years ago. Well, let me think back here. A few years ago, Paul, you'll remember this too. We had that Snowmageddon where everything froze up, and we were without power. I think we were only without power for maybe 2 or 3 days. So we were without power a little bit longer. So I'm going to be putting together a little video to talk about how we managed through that, right? What we used, how we used our solar generators, our gasoline generators, all of our battery banks, and those types of things to keep things going over the course of that time. So if that's something you're interested in, keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming before too long. Hey, Bill, nice to see you out there. 45, thanks for joining. See, we had a few other folks pop in. That might have been it. Paul, I already said hello. Good to see you out there. The Pocket Ranger from LowMesh stayed powered on during those 4 days. You know what? I can't remember the last time I charged this thing, actually. I started monkeying around with it a little bit earlier, doing some config work, and I'm just going to take a peek. I'm down to 31% of my battery right now, and I mean, I can't even tell you how long this thing's been running. Let me see here. Yeah, this thing lasts and lasts and lasts. It's awesome. You know, I'm finding myself having a hard time carrying anything else, quite honestly, just because it's just so much more convenient, right? I just don't have to charge it. I don't have to worry about it. But anyhow, we'll talk some more about that. Robert, nice to see you out there. Welcome. Hope all is well in Alaska. Ronnie, hello and welcome. Ronnie says, we put a new roof on a month before. Strange coming back and being the only one on the block with no roof damage. Wow. Yeah, a month before Ian. Yeah. Yeah, these storms are, they're the real deal. They're pretty scary, no doubt about it. Not something you want to mess around with, certainly. And, you know, the aftermath is stressful. You certainly want to have ways to help your family get through that, right? I mean, no matter what you do, it's going to be stressful. It's going to be a pain. It's going to be difficult. But there's certainly things that you can do to make that much easier on your family. Good to hear, Robert. Good to hear things are kind of business as usual there for you. Welcome, Ted. Nice to see you out there. All right. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to jump right into it. That's we're not going to mess around tonight. Quite honestly, gang, I'm not sure how far or how long I'm going to be able to go here. I am just whooped. It's been a long week, but we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna jump in, and our main topic, our downlink topic tonight, is going to be getting your Meshtastic device set up for Hamvention without going through the process of flashing your device. Now, why in the world wouldn't you just do that, right? Tim set it up. Thanks, Tim. The check's in the mail. But Tim already said, why do you have to make it hard? Just flash it. Well, again, I mentioned I have a hard time wanting to carry anything other than this device. And of course, this has special firmware on it. This has custom firmware on it. And I don't want to lose that custom firmware. I don't want to lose that awesome 3+ week battery capability that this device has, right? And it's all because of the firmware. Yes, the hardware is pretty sweet. It's pretty nice in and of itself, but the magic's in that firmware. And so I don't want to flash it. And I don't think, actually, I should have checked. I would bet though, and I might lose this bet, but that's okay. I would bet that Stavros hasn't made a Meshtastic or a Hamvention specific firmware for Meshtastic. I'm sure he's busy enough that he hasn't done that. So I want to be able to talk with everybody that's on the Meshtastic firmware, or I'm sorry, on the Hamcation firmware, but I don't want to change my firmware. So we're going to talk about how you do that. And unfortunately, it's not as easy as you would expect it to be. It's just not, it's not as easy as it should be. This is one of those things that'll drive you crazy. And it really starts going through a process like this, kind of shows you some of the idiosyncrasies of Meshtastic that are still there. Hey, Kyle, welcome. Of course you're tardy. Do you feel tardy? All right, let's see. And I see Stavros has joined us. Welcome, Stavros. He's a LowMesh official out there. I would make a custom firmware, but the code is based on an old, or maybe that's a new. Oh yeah, that's a newer, maybe an alpha, or maybe that's not even in the alpha. Maybe that's not even an option for us otherwise. But anyhow, I mean, it should be easy enough, unless they're doing some sort of secret sauce stuff, which, they are a little bit, not really, but a little bit. They're just putting some custom configuration in there. And that's what I discovered whenever I was playing around. And like I said, this stuff just doesn't work as smoothly as you would hope it would. Let me, for those of you who maybe haven't flashed your device yet, or you haven't seen the announcements, if you just go over to hamvention.meshtastic.org, if you just have, something like a T1000, or, maybe you've got a TDEC or something else, that you are fine replacing the firmware on, I mean, just have at it. You'll have no trouble at all. That's exactly what I did with this guy here, right? So I just flashed it like, like Tim kind of said, why do you have to be difficult? Just be normal and just flash it. Well, I did. I just flashed it and it works just fine. Though I think there may be a couple of quirky things going on with this current version of the Hamvention firmware, but I don't carry this a ton, so maybe that's normal behavior. That's just odd behavior. Maybe some of you who use a TDEC on a regular basis will have an opinion of that, and we can get into that a little bit as well. Let's see here. Nice. Kyle's got his Heltec ready to rock. Congratulations. Nice work. John got his Hamvention tickets already. Don't hate me for living less than 2 hours away. Well, that's okay, John. I mean, you still have to put up with being in Ohio, so we'll give you that one. We'll give you that one. That's a joke from somebody who's lived in Pennsylvania for a long time. Paul's got to flash his. I'm sure some of you other folks have one of these guys and you don't want to flash it. No, sure. There's nothing that says you can't flash this with this firmware. Go to the show, have a good time, do what you do. Probably going to have to charge this a little more frequently than you're used to because you don't have the secret sauce. But you could certainly do that. And then you could come home and flash this again with the LowMesh firmware and be back in business. I mean, that's certainly one way to go. But again, I have become spoiled. I am now, I'm just way spoiled. Like I said, it's hard for me to carry anything else whenever I can charge that so infrequently, and it's just it's just kind of worked its way into my everyday carry, and so that's what I want to take with me. Robert, thinking maybe next year you'll go? Yeah, if you haven't been, it's certainly an experience. It's a lot of fun. It's very cool. Dalton, welcome from South Central Kentucky. Good to have you here, Dalton. All right, let's see. And 45 he's cut off from flashing. I can understand that. That's probably a good thing, 45. All right, let's see. Okay, so I put together a few steps here. I think you guys probably understand why I want to go down this path. Right, again, I'm trying to keep this firmware. I just want to be able to talk with everybody else who's on the Hamvention firmware. And so here's how I went about doing this. So I flashed this guy. This guy's got the stock Hamvention firmware on it. And then kind of my approach, we'll talk about the approach, then we'll actually do it. We'll walk through it. But my idea was, okay, let's flash this and then let's use this because I thought this would be easier. And I'm not convinced it is easier. But that's okay, right? You don't know until you try. But the idea was flash this, go ahead and use the ability to export the channels, right? You guys have seen where you can go into that floating menu in either the conversations or in the nodes, tell it you want to see a QR code for the channels, and it'll present a QR code, and you can tell it you want these channels to be added to another device or to replace the channels on another device, right? So you have some options. So my idea was to kind of use that capability to then take the channels and, each of those channels has a unique key, and you have to have that key if you want to talk to everybody else that's using those channels. So the idea was flash this, use the ability to export the channels, and then import them, right? Take a picture of that QR code or read that QR code and load those channels into the configuration for my LowMesh. So that all sounds pretty straightforward until you try it, right? So we'll walk through that here. All right, let's see. Yeah, you'll get your 10,000 steps in at Hamvention on Friday. Yep. And then every day thereafter, especially when you head out to the boneyard. All right, let's see. So here's the way I went about this. Let me get a couple of things set up here. Let's see. What do I need? I think. Ooh, I wonder, I might be one cable off. All right, let's see here. We'll try it. We'll see what happens here. This cable business always seems to bite me. I'm just looking around here to see if I have another one that's handy. I don't think this cable will work. We're going to try it though. So what I'm using here, so you guys can see a little bit better what's going on. I'm using the web client. So this is the web client interface, and we'll know pretty quickly if I'm able to connect to this through the serial connection on the web client. Okay, so it did recognize the device. So what I'm doing is I'm turning this off. I've got this plugged in. Oh, I've got to add a connection here. So let me turn this back on just a quick second. I'm going to tell it I'm going to add a connection. I'm going to add a serial connection. I could change the name. I don't care about the name. What I'm looking for here is, and you guys can't see this, it pops up, but you guys have seen this before, I'm sure. It pops up a little window to show me the different serial ports on my device. And I'm just disconnecting the cable and reconnecting the cable so that I can see which one goes away, so I know which one it is. It's COM10 in this situation. And then I'm going to save this connection. I'm going to tell it I want to connect. Now, this can be a little annoying sometimes to actually get this to connect. So how I've had the best luck with it is I turn it off, and then I just turn it back on. I leave the cable connected. And we'll see here, as it starts to boot, it will usually, connect here. And of course, it doesn't look like it's going to do that. So I'm going to tell it to reload. I'm going to do a connect. Some of these little things, there we go. I got the connection. They're just a little quirky. They never seem to work the same way twice. And certainly they work a little differently from one browser to another. To run this, you need to be in a Chrome or Chrome derivative. I think you guys all know about that, so just keep that in mind. But here, I now have, one cable short of a 6-pack. You got it, Tim. So here now I've got my TDEC, and this is just the web client. And I can go into settings here. And if I go over to channels, I can see that there were 3 channels created whenever I did the flash. Whenever I ran this web flasher, it gave me 3 channels: Hamvention, Node Chat, and Yard Sale. That's similar to what they've done with their firmware, the last couple of years. Same channels. Okay. And there's some detail here about those channels. Okay. We're going to look at this. We're also going to go back. We're going to end up looking at some of this node information here as well. But for right now, we've got these channels, and we can go over. There's this export button here. And I'm hoping this is big enough that you guys can see it. Let me see here if I can. Do I have one of these that'll let me? Maybe I don't. Oh, yeah, that's going to be too much. All right. But over here in the top right, you've got a couple of options. You can import a configuration or you can export a configuration. Okay. Yeah, I could plus it up as well. If you guys, are you guys having trouble seeing it? Right. This is what we're talking about right here. Okay, I'm going to take it down just a little bit. All right, and I'm going to tell it I want to export these. Okay, and I can choose just to take one of these channels if I want, but I want all three of them. And then I can choose to either have them replace the channels, which is probably the easier option. Okay. It is the easier option. It's not probably the easier option. But of course, we're not going to do the easy option. We're going to go the hard route, and we're going to tell it we want to add the channels. And you can see that the QR code changes, right, based on what you select. And also, pay attention here that you have a shareable URL. And so I'll add these URLs to the description in case anybody wants to use them if they don't want to go through some of this trouble themselves. I'll add the URL, and you can see the URL changes as well. I'll add the URL for both, and that will just save you from having to actually flash the device, right? Because this is going to be the same, right? The channel information is going to be the same regardless of if you flash it, if I flash it, the device you flash it on, all the rest. Now, the other thing, so let's talk about why replace channels is easier than add channels. So when you choose replace channels, it also changes your LoRa settings in addition to adding the channels. And that's kind of a big deal, right? If you choose add channels, well, let's talk about the LoRa settings here first. Let's go back over to LoRa, and we can see how they have this set up. This is a little interesting. They have a hop limit of 4. Historically, I think they've told us to use a hop limit of 3, but we're at a hop limit of 4. A frequency slot of 31. But the modem preset is short turbo. And, unless you've got a specific use case and you've changed this on your device, it's likely you're not using short turbo, right? You may be using long fast, you may be using medium fast, but you're likely not using short turbo. And so when you export and you tell it to replace the channels, it also grabs all those LoRa settings and it updates those LoRa settings. So things kind of work. If you tell it you want to add channels, it doesn't mess with your LoRa settings. It leaves your LoRa settings there, assuming that you want to keep them. And it just adds the channels, which means it kind of does some basic things, right? It adds the actual channel itself, copies over the key, so you have the security related to that channel so that you're able to talk on it. But that doesn't mean that you're actually able to talk on it, because your LoRa settings, your modem settings are likely, I think likely is fair, are likely different. Okay? So that's a little foreshadowing for you guys. Let me see if there's any questions here before I jump into the next section. Oh, let's see here. What is my EDC device? This guy's my EDC device. This is all I've been carrying since Hamvention. Let's see here. Dave, welcome. Well, let me take that back. This is all I've been running since Hamvention for Meshtastic. I'm still playing with multiple devices with Mesh Core. So I always carry a Meshtastic device and a Mesh Core device. This has been my EDC for Meshtastic. My EDC for Mesh Core has actually been I'm not as dedicated to one device. I'll grab this often the T1000. I'll grab the rack Wiz mesh tag, which is very similar to this quite often. The only problem with these is the battery life on them is just, you know, whenever you first get them, you'll get like 3 days. But, you know, now that I've had this for like 2.5, 3 years, something like that, I'm not getting great battery life on these anymore, right? They start to fade a little bit. I usually also carry a, you know, something with an 18650 in it. And I keep that on my backpack for Mesh Core, and that's been a Spec 5, their Delta. That's got an 18650, and it lasts for quite a while because it's got a big battery powering that thing. Let's see here. Stavros says he's got holsters for it now. Fantastic. Yeah, looking forward to see you here in a couple of weeks. That'll be fun. Can't wait to see what kind of fun stuff you're bringing to the show. Reticulum. I've been playing with it a little bit, Chris, but I haven't spent enough time with it. So I'm not like carrying it. It's not part of my EDC yet. Let's see. All right. The Pocket Ranger does support Mesh Core. And I just saw your note there. I was going to pick up the FDE one there at the show, but it looks like I probably need to buy that beforehand. So I got to make myself a note. I was hoping to just pick one of those up at the show for Mesh Core, but looks like those things are hot, flying off the shelves, hot. All right, and here I'll drop, for those of you who might be interested, I'll drop a link for you. That's an affiliate link if you want to pick one of those up, if you want to get one of those last ones. All right, let's see. All right, so I think we're ready to take the next step here. So here's what we're going to do. Let me see here. Okay, great. I've got my phone working here. Let's see. I frequently delete my node database, and I just saw that I had Ed AC3IK just pop in, and I just deleted it. Oh, Robert, I see you've dropped in there as well. Let's see here. Yeah, so I deleted this actually just probably a half hour or so. So you guys are coming through on the MQTT just fine, Robert. I'm seeing you guys. I see you and Ed pop in there. You guys are probably the most regular folks there on that side. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to work through, and unfortunately, it's going to be like that. You have to work through adding these channels to my device right here. And I'm not going to replace the channels. And let me show you why. Let me switch back over here. And let's see here. I can probably zoom in a little bit. So I've got a bunch of channels that, and I just deleted all the conversations in these channels, but I've got regular channels that I maintain, and I want to keep these. And I've also, as I mentioned, I've got my MQTT set up so that if people aren't able to attend the show, they can still get a little bit of the flavor by looking, kind of following along in Meshtastic here. Sounds like my dogs are going crazy on me here. I'm not sure if you guys can hear them or not. Let's see. All right, we got some good conversations going there, so that's good. All right, so what I'm going to do here, and this is interesting as well, right? There's all kinds of little idiosyncrasies once you start getting beyond basic messaging on these apps. So you see there's a little floating menu item here, right, that gives you a few options to add some channels. Now this is really odd, but every time I try to add channels through this conversations page, it just doesn't seem to work. It just struggles. But if I go to the nodes page, right, so this is, this icon down here, right? So your conversations, then your nodes, it has that floating menu as well. And this one tends to work where the other one doesn't. Don't ask me why, but that's been my experience. So here's what we've got. I've got this QR code up here on my screen. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read it with my phone. Okay. Now, this is also very interesting to me, and I hope you guys can see this, and I might have to try to give you guys a better view. So you can see I've got my long fast, my MQTT channel, a few other channels that I have here, and then this channel 5 and channel 6. These are channels that I've deleted those a little while back, but anytime I try to add a channel through a QR code, it tries to come back. Don't ask me why, but it tries to come back. So I'm going to tell the interface here that I don't want those. I just want it to add 7, 8, and 9, right? And these are the 3 channels from this QR code. Okay. And I've got it on add channels, not replace channels. Now, this is also another very quirky thing. Even though it's on add channels, sometimes this will just act like it's going to do a replace. Let me show you what I mean. These are all the quirks that I've come across. So you see there, I just canceled that. I'm going to try to add this again. Let me flip over here so you guys can see what I'm doing, right? I'm going to scan this code again. And of course, this time it's going to work the way you would expect it to. Okay. Now it didn't try to give me those extra channels like it did originally. It just tried to give me these 3 channels. But this is what the add behavior looks like, right? I want you guys to see this, right? You're going to see your original channels, and then you're going to see the new channels. Okay. Now I'm going to cancel this once again. And let's go back here real quick. And I'm going to tell this I want to do a replace, right? So my QR code changes. Now I'm putting my phone up here. I'm going to say, go ahead and let's read this. Now, this is the behavior that you get when you try to do the replace channel. I'm not seeing all my original channels. I'm just seeing the new channels. And then I'm also seeing some configuration changes, right? You can see the hop limit is changing from 3 to 4. The modem preset's changing from long fast to short turbo, right? So we talked about that, right? And so I could accept this, but then I'd lose all my other channels and I'd have to add those back. Okay. Now, that's not the end of the world because I have another QR code that has those other channels on it with the built-in keys, right? That's really the important part, the keys and whatnot, so that other people that I communicate with that have those channels as well, our keys have to be in sync. Boy, oh boy. Let's see. Okay. We're doing all right here. I'm just about out of power. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that on this phone. All right. So let me go back to, let's go back to here. I'm going to tell it I want to add channels. Okay. I'm coming back to this page. I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to scan it. Okay, that looks good. It didn't bring back those phantom channels anymore. That all looks good. Those are the channels I want. I'm going to say accept. Okay. Now, if I go, now you can see down here, my node's going to restart. Take these off so I can hear the node. I don't think I need to hear plugging in the devices to the computer anymore. All right, looks like we're back. Let me go. Now here's another quirky thing that I see. All right. Hey, this actually this worked and it worked the way it should. Okay. If I go to setup and look at the channels, all my channels are there. My original channels and my new channels. And if I go over to conversations, all my channels are there. That's the way it should work. Hey, imagine that actually worked, right? That's usually not the way it goes whenever you're doing something like this. What I've seen, and I want to make you guys aware of this, is sometimes you will see the channels that you've added show up in conversations, but they won't show up here in the channel configuration. And what I've had to do to get them to show up is restart this device again. And sometimes that's all it takes. Other times you have to try to do it, add the channels again. There's just some weird, really quirky stuff there, and things don't work the way you expect them to. All right. Let me see if I have any questions here before we get into the funny stuff. Let's see. All right, so everybody's chatting up Stavros there, which is great. Let's see. Robert's got his. Yeah, Robert. I mean, that's, I'm going to use one for Meshtastic, one for Mesh Core. That's the way I'm thinking about it. Anyway, okay. Now, let's try something. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to the yard sale. I'm going to try to send a message. Okay, you guys can see that. Let's see if my message gets through. Doesn't look like it's getting through. Not getting through. Okay, this is what we talked about. Why is it not getting through? If I go back to my config and I look at my LoRa settings, I'm on long fast, right? So again, just adding the channels doesn't change the modem preset. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to manually change this to short turbo. Then I got to save it. If I don't save it, it doesn't stick. And we'll let it save and restart the node. Okay, we'll see how it's doing. I just heard the beep from the node saying it's restarted. Here's the other thing I've found. On occasion, when you make a change, something like a modem change, sometimes I have to manually restart the node. So I'm just hitting the small button, the restart button. Oh, it connected. I'm good shape here. All right, so now I'm on short turbo, rock and roll. So let's go into yard sale. And I'm going to resend. There, I've got that annoying tone going on my T deck, so you guys hopefully were able to hear that, right? That the message was sent. Fantastic. I got the little check mark. You guys know how all this stuff works, right? So that message was sent. Now, I'm going to go over, right? Node chat. That should work the same way. We'll try that. There we go. We got that little annoying alarm. Good. Well, let's go to Hamvention and try that. All right. Those all seem to work. Now, let me take a look here. And I think some of this, I think I smoothed the skids here just a little bit. Let me see here. I'm on use presets. Oh, I'm good. Some other odd behaviors that I had when trying to do this is, well, let me try to send something back. Let's make sure we're full duplex here. And let me see here. You guys might be able to see this. All right, so I'm going to go into Hamvention. Now, here's what's weird, right? I heard the tone, but I'm not seeing the message. I don't know if you guys can see that. So what I've found is whenever a new node, and this is where I think there might be a problem with this firmware. I've got to do some more testing. I've also flashed this guy with it, and I had the same experience with the T1000. With this firmware, this device was not seeing new nodes on its own. I had to restart the device before a new node would pop up. Okay. Let's see if I can send a test. Let me go over to all right, there it is. See, now it's showing up, but that was not showing up until I restarted this. I think that's something a little funky with the firmware. And I'm going to send a test back. Okay. And I'm working. Okay. All right. So let me see if anyone's got any questions here. Everybody seems like they're following along, or I'm not seeing any questions at least. Just checking here. I didn't mention that I am streaming to Twitch in addition to streaming to YouTube. Looks like we've had a few people drop in to see what the heck's going on. Not too many. Looks like 10 people has been the max. All right. That's fine. All right. This is a pleasant surprise. Things actually work the first time around. Now, some things that I had some trouble with whenever I was attempting this before, and I'm curious at this. I want to take a closer look at this. I want to look at, and this is where I think I may have greased the skids just a little bit. Let me flip you guys back over here to, we're going to go in and take a look at these LoRa settings here. What I have seen, the first time I attempted this, I had some trouble. And I'll share with you guys the trouble that I had, as it might help you. Whenever I changed here's the part that's interesting, right? If your frequency slot is it's a function of the name of your 0 channel, your modem preset, and something else. Stavros may be able to help me here. The operating frequency, it's right in it's right in the interface here. See if I can get it. The operating frequency is calculated based on the region, the modem preset, and this field. And it's the slot is automatically calculated based on the primary channel name. So this is what's a little odd, and I may have greased the skids here a little bit. Again, I had done this once, tried to reset everything back to original and then run it again. I wanted to make sure I could walk through it. But whenever I had originally set this up, my frequency slot was not 31 on this device because my 0 channel has become short turbo where it was long fast before. And if we look at the 0 channel on this device, it's Hamvention. So I think if you try this, you are going to have to change. You're going to have to change your frequency slot right here, because I think this was like 50 or something before. So that's something to keep an eye on, right? Whenever you change that the modem preset and when your 0 channel name changes, that should impact your frequency slot. And so I had to manually come in here and set my frequency slot to 31 because here, with Hamvention being the 0 channel, right, that's where the frequency slot was, where it was 50 on the other one. So that's the only place, and it took me a little bit to figure that out, but keep that in mind. That if you try this and you're having trouble communicating back and forth, check that frequency or that channel number. All right, let's see here. But yeah, the good news here now is, right, I've got all my original channels, and I've got the Hamvention channels. So I'm ready to go, right? And I tested it, so I know I'll be able to communicate on all those channels. Now, Robert, you're out there. Let's see if I'm going to try to just send you a message via MQTT, and we'll see if you still get that and if you're able to respond if you're still out there. So we'll give Robert a chance to respond to that if he's even in a... Oh, it works. All right, so we've maintained our configuration. We've maintained our firmware, so we're not going to monkey with or lose our super battery life. And now we're also able to communicate with all the kids that'll be at Hamvention. So that's a win-win-win. All right, let's see here. Something else I want to show you guys. What was it? What was it? What was it? Well, I'll think of it here in a minute. I want to see if we can see just how long this thing has been running. Seems I've done a few resets on here, so yeah, these are all... This looks a little different than I was thinking. Let's see, how far does this thing go back? I think it's recycling there. But yeah, I have not... Oh wait, let me see. Let's get an update. This is only showing me today, though, which is a little odd. Not sure what's going on there. Let's see here. Let's see, I am going to steal. I'm getting ready to lose some power here, so I got to get this guy plugged in. All right. Hopefully that'll be able to keep us up. But I had something else I wanted to show you. Let me just take a look here. Is it in the channel? I think it may have been in the channel. Oh, yes, this is what I wanted to talk about just real quickly. So the way that, and I'm going to respect this, the Hamvention channel is configured here. It's configured to uplink. So it's configured to send to MQTT, but it's not configured to receive MQTT. So I'm going to respect that on that channel, but I will have my MQTT channel set up as well as my other channels set up as bidirectional. So if folks want to follow along, they'll be able to see all the chatter that's going on in the Hamcation channel. I could probably do the same here. I'm going to actually. I'll go ahead and turn these on too. It might be interesting for folks to see what's going on, what people are talking about in the yard sale section, and in the node chat section. All right. So that gets you all set for Hamvention. Let's see here. All right, let's see. If there was only a way to back up your current config so you could restore it after you're done with the special event firmware. You can, and thank you, Tim, for all the softballs here. You certainly can. If you go back into the config, boy, I'm at 3%. I'm surprised this thing is staying on. But if you go into config, and I always do this right before I started messing around with any of this stuff, I exported my configuration, which essentially makes a backup of your config. And I would recommend that you do that to start. And then if you ever need to, or once you return back from Hamvention, just as Tim had alluded to, you can re-import that configuration. And I would also recommend that you reset your node database after that, because you're going to have many nodes in there that you'll likely not see again until next year, or maybe Hamvention, Huntsville. But at that time, you can just rediscover them again. But yeah, certainly use the export config before you start tinkering. And then once you get home, you can do an import config and get yourself back on track. And I would recommend also resetting your node database. Thanks for the call out there, Tim. Jason, welcome. Good to have you out there. Yeah, you definitely did, Dave. This was, how to do it the hard way, right? Because, as hams, we never want to just do it the easy way. There is not a LowMesh flash for Hamvention. Stavros mentioned that just right as the stream was getting kicked off. Looks like they're using a maybe a alpha version that's not quite available everywhere else. But again, I'm having some weird behavior on this guy right here, where it's not showing discovered nodes until you reset it. So I think that might be, there might be an update coming to that. I think after the stream here, I'll bounce over to the Discord and just mention that and see if anybody else is having that same behavior. There might be an update to that Hamvention MUI version of the firmware. Let's see. We got the traveling ham out there. Nice to see you, Mike. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, we've seen that before, Kyle. We've seen, where there's been, some a quick turn on a firmware before one of these events. So let's see. Any questions out there about what we walk through? I'm curious if people are planning to try to maintain. You are a LowMesh user. This was likely helpful for you. Hopefully it was helpful for you. Cooley just got his LowMesh device working. Cool. Curious, Cooley, how did you go about it? Did you just flash it, or did you add the channels? Dave, so your TDEC's working 100%. So Dave, it seemed to be working just fine. When I had trouble with it was the first time I would send a message on the mesh from a different node, it would act like it received it, though you wouldn't see it in the interface, right? You would hear the little annoying chime because I still have that turned on because it's helpful for troubleshooting. Good. So maybe I need to reflash mine and try again. But yeah, I had the exact same issue the first time I transmitted from my T1000 onto the mesh. The TDEC heard it or saw it and played the chime, but it didn't show the message in the interface. Oh, I see, Cooley. You just got it paired to your phone. Gotcha. Well, you're gonna sure enjoy that one, Cooley. I mean, I still have a hard time believing. I mean, I'm probably close to 4 weeks. I think I was 3 weeks last week. I've not charged this since, the last time, before the last time we had the late shift. So I think I'm close to a month on mine. All right. Well, that's really what I wanted to try to cover. I'm happy to chat through any questions anyone has, or if there's any other topics folks want to chat about. I'm happy to do that for a little bit. Like I said, it's been a long week here. All this storm business is nonsense. It takes it out of you for sure. I've got this weekend, I've got a lot of chainsaw time. I'm going to be on the chainsaw for quite a while tomorrow, I think. Got a lot of cleanup to do. I was out for 4 days, Kyle. Let's see. Wow, Robert, 50% at the 4-week mark. But we're the only mesh traffic there. Gotcha. Yeah, we have a fair amount here. There's always some chatter going on, so that's why I always kind of clear everything out before a stream. But yeah, Kyle, I was out. I kept the refrigerators going on the EcoFlows. So I've got an EcoFlow. What is it? It's the Delta Max 2. And so I've got 2 pretty good size, but they're really well insulated too. They're big refrigerators, but they're well insulated refrigerators. But I kept 2 refrigerators running and a few other kind of necessities over that period. I've got 6 kilowatt of capability in the one stack of EcoFlows, and then I've got like a smaller EcoFlow that I actually had on my. I probably should have done it the other way, right? I'm going to do kind of an after action report, just so I can kind of think through all these little learning lessons. But I've got the same exact refrigerator in the garage as I've got in the house, and we had 92, 93 degree temperature for 2 of those days, the first 2 of those 4 days. And so I probably should have put the larger battery stack on the one in the garage because, it was warmer out there. I think it was damn hot in the house too. I can tell you that. Did not have the AC going. Yeah. It feels like you're going to die for sure. The other thing that's crazy about the electric being out that long, it feels like it's been out for like 3 times that long, especially when it's hot. Whenever it's 90 degrees out and it's close to 90 degrees in the house, um, we did have some fans running off of those as well. But, all the fans really doing is just kind of moving the air, um, and helping to evaporate the sweat that you're dealing with. Um, so I think I could have went 3 days on that large stack. However, I've never run those stacks clear empty. And you guys know how battery gauges can be similar to gas gauges, right? It's like the first 25% of the gauge feels like it's 50% of the tank or 50% of the capacity, because after you get to a certain point, it starts to, right? Those gauges aren't linear, right? It's not like a linear uh, type of progression. It's like you hit a certain point and it goes faster toward the end. And so I, was trying to avoid being in a situation where I lost battery power when, we were sleeping or something like that, right? Because we had 2 fridges full of food. And so what I was doing is I had a gas generator, a little Honda gas generator. And this was another kind of big revelation for me. Um, when you think about needing a generator, at least in my mind, I've always kind of went to this place of I need a really big generator to be able to run a bunch of stuff. And yeah, that would be really handy, but it's also very handy to have a small generator. I think it was a little Honda. I think it was 2500 2500 watt, right? Which is pretty close to around one of the smallest generators that they make, which makes it really handy. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so sounds like you've already had this experience, Kyle. Um, that's exactly what I used it for. So I was using that small generator to top off my solar generators, right? Because the first day we had a lot of sun, and so I had the solar panels out, and I was actually making some progress, right? The solar panels were doing a great job. But then the next couple of days, we had a lot of overcast, and the solar panels just weren't getting it. So without that generator, would I have made it? I don't know. I think I would have been cutting it awful close. It was certainly nice to have that generator, and that generator will run for a long time too. They only have like a 2.5 gallon tank, but we were getting like 7 hours on that 2.5 gallon tank, just running some, after we topped off the batteries, we could run like fans, and we could run some small things, some small convenience items. But I used my Devos lights at night. So my camp lights, those worked fantastic. I actually used them with the red lenses on them. So I've got a little bit of the older model. It's the 1200, the Devos 1200, where you had to put the lenses on them. And so I was running the red lenses in the house because I had the French doors to the screen porch wide open, trying to get some air into the house. And, I think running those red lenses helped not attract bugs. So that was another That was another nice thing. Tim, you'll be glad to know I was making my pour over coffee on the tailgate of the truck in the morning. So broke out all our camping gear, right? We had our camp lights, they were working. I had my little fan that I run in my tent. Trina snagged that pretty quick. You know, because that thing will run all night whenever you're trying to get some sleep. So we had, all the camping gear out to help kind of make things a little more comfortable. Kyle says, I take that same generator with me in the back of the truck. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, right, is that those little Hondas, they're not very big, right? They're not super heavy. I mean, they still have some weight to them, but they're not super heavy and they're not super huge. You can tuck them in somewhere in the bed of the truck, and that can make a big difference, having that available and having that capability. I don't have the dual fuel generator, Gray Man. I do want to look at that though, because that is interesting. I did have a bunch of propane here, which could have been handy. And I know Jason's got one of those, and I've never paid close enough attention to it. I don't know what they're rated at. I don't know what the output power is of those, but I certainly recommend people having something like an EcoFlow or similar, a Jackery, right? There's lots of brands out there. I really like the EcoFlow brand though. I mean, I've had great luck with those. But I do recommend having those available, and then also have a small generator. You don't need to go crazy and buy a real expensive or a really large generator. You can get a lot done with a small generator. Morgan says, my place runs completely on solar now. Wow. That's cool. But you still have a big 50 kilowatt generator. Let's see. Okay, Tim's got the equivalent. Yep, the DeWalt. Yeah, that's the other thing that's really nice is that the one I have here is, it's older. It's got to be 10 years old. Here's the other thing too that blows my mind, right? This is from a Honda. This is sometimes you'll have generators that have a Honda motor on it. This is a Honda generator, and that thing was brand new, was $600. If you look today, I think the equivalent generator is it's probably close to $1,400-$1,500 for that Honda. I'm not sure what the Tim, who makes the engine for that DeWalt? The one thing I'll say about that Honda, it started super easy, and it's well maintained, right? Regular oil changes, and it looks like a brand new generator. But that thing has to work when you need it. And that's one of the things I really like about Honda small engines, right? They're just awesome. Oh, I know, Kyle, $600 for that thing. But like I said, it's 10 years old. Let's see. Wild Radio has a Cummins 9500 DF. Nice. Dave, you got a nice one there, a 4800. Here's the other thing though. I love those big generators. Dave, what's that one weigh? That probably weighs 125 pounds or so. that 9500 probably weighs over 200 pounds, right? That's the other thing is, oh yeah, Kyle got his 10 years ago for $900. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I actually have um, came across the sales receipt for that. Bought back in New York 10 years ago. The Champion dual fuel is cheaper, and I think is a good generator. Yeah, I'd like to get a dual fuel. I really like that option. I mean, I always have at least some propane here on the ranch. I've got a big, I've got a 30-gallon tank that I use with my flamethrower. I've got some smaller ones that we use with. We've got one gas grill, and we've got one smoker. But that dual fuel option is certainly nice. It's a good option. So when the power is out, what do we cook with? So we had a couple of things going for us. So first of all, a lot of times we will make some meals ahead. Like we'll usually make like a big salad, and we'll make that ahead, and we'll eat that for a couple of days into the week. So we had that. We were lucky we had that done. We had sandwich meat. So we had we had some sandwiches, we had salads. But the cheat code that we had is going over to Trina's family. They are just a couple of miles away, and they got power. They're actually within the city limits, if you will. And so, it seems, they got power, I think, after a day. So at one point we were able to go over there and get a hot meal. We went over there a couple of times, got showers and that type of thing. So we were lucky in that regard. We were able to get a little family relief there. But, I was making coffee in the morning with the camping kit. We had the full fridge, so we had all the food at our disposal. We could have done some stuff on the grill if we had wanted to, but I tell you, and Kyle, if you were without power for a while, you'll know this, right? You don't have a lot of gumption or energy for cooking when you're you're outside, you're dealing with all this crap from the storm. Like I said, we had to go out. We spent all day Sunday running a chainsaw just so we could cut trees off of the driveway so we could get our vehicles out if we needed to. When you can't come into the house and kind of get refreshed, right? When it's 90 degrees outside, you're working, you come in the house and, you're just as hot as you were when you're outside. I don't have a big appetite. I mean, if I can grab something simple, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we weren't, neither of us were kind of hungry for anything big. Let's see. 80 pounds. That's not bad at all. Yeah. When I've, of course, when you go through this, made me think, boy, maybe I ought to look at upgrading some things. And so whenever I was looking at some of the newer generators that are out there, It felt like things that were in that 35, 45, not 30, I'd say the 45, 48, those things of that size, those things were over 100 pounds. And then those big boys, which really sound attractive, right? The ones where you can just plug your panel into them. Those suckers are 230 pounds, 240 pounds. And that's before you get fuel in them. Yeah, that's it. You got it, Kyle. It's like you're hot and miserable. I don't think there was anything as good as that salad. That salad was delicious. It was cold, it was fresh, and man, um, that thing was like fantastic. Yeah, eating like a can of pears or something, right? That's just something that's quick and easy, is huge. I I don't mind. I actually kind of like certain like Mountain House meals. Um, Trina thinks it's just absolutely crazy though, but I always have a stockpile of those uh, as well. I can always, if I'm really looking forward to something hot, I could do that at any time. Oh yeah, mist systems are amazing. Yeah. We have a lot of restaurants here in Texas that use misters out on their patios and such. So when am I going to be there for Hamvention? I'm going to be there Wednesday. I think we determined that we will be at the campsite by 6 o'clock is what we're estimating. Yeah, 6 o'clock we ought to be we ought to have boots on the ground at the campsite. Yeah, it's good to have some of that dehydrated stuff. I also I've got my own dehydrator, so I've got a number of different things vacuum sealed that I've dehydrated. These are you know all the stuff from we've got canned stuff from the garden. We've got some vacuum sealed stuff. I think I've still got some hog jerky that I vacuum sealed. So we've got all kinds of stuff like that. Yes. Yeah. I'll be staying with Jason, Chris, Dave. Your Thursday afternoon, cool, nice. Kyle, when are you getting in? I don't think I remember hearing when you're getting in. Let's see. It looks like we still have some people hanging out there. Looks like the stream's still working on Twitch. I've got to figure out what's going on with my chat thing. Let me see. I don't think I had any chatters from Twitch, or at least I missed them and ignored them. Sorry, Twitch folks. Yeah, that's for sure, Tim. You learn something in every one of those. No doubt about it. Yep, that's the beauty of dehydrated food for sure. And I don't know if Paul's still out there, right? He's got his freeze dried stuff, um, which is pretty amazing as well. All right, cool. You're getting in Wednesday. Okay. Oh, nice. Um, Stavros, we usually poke our heads in Wednesday evening and see who's in, getting set up. So we'll look for you. I'm sure we'll see you. Let's see. Bricker, you're getting there on Monday. Holy smokes. Yeah, I really like making so I make venison jerky and I make hog jerky. When I make the hog jerky, I'll smoke it on the smoker first. So I get it halfway there on the smoker, and then I bring it in the dehydrator and finish it off in the dehydrator. Cool. Tim will be there on Wednesday too. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Taco Bell soda on Wednesday. You're going to have to explain that one to me. Where are you finding a soda? There's probably a joke in there I'm missing. Kyle, were you in whenever I was showing some pictures from the storm? There's a Taco Bell in Cincy. Oh, I guess, is it in Cincy or is it across the bridge in Kentucky? There's a, what's the awful spaghetti place that's just across the bridge off of downtown. Setup would be on Thursday. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so Kentucky's just across the bridge from downtown Cincinnati. So, like once you go past the ballpark, go through the tunnels, go past the ballpark, you cross that bridge. As soon as you cross that bridge, you're in Kentucky. And then as soon as you go across that bridge, you go up. But, that's probably one of the highest points in the area there. Yeah, that must be where the Skyline soda is right there. That's what I couldn't think of, the Skyline chili. I don't even call it chili. It's spaghetti. But that's on the Kentucky side. All right. The McDonald's on top of Mont Eagle in Tennessee. I don't think I know where that is. Maybe it's not a soda, but it's up there. It might, there might not be an official peak there anywhere. I'll have to look that up. Last time I had Skyline was 2012. I agree, Jason. I agree. I'd rather pour Wolf brand chili on spaghetti than eat Skyline chili. Are we going to go to that bar in Xenia that we went to like 4 times last year? I'm sure we will. You mean the one that we had lunch at or dinner at that one time? Yeah, it almost felt like we were becoming regulars there. But their food's pretty good, and it's close. We went to a pizza place last year. You guys may recall, right? There was some bad weather I forget what night it was. It might have been Saturday night. Was it Saturday night? I think it may have been Saturday night, where the tornado came through in that area. Yeah. And myself, Jason, Frank, and Bill, since we were camping on site, we all went to where they had the tornado shelter there on site. And after that, instead of going to the Hope Hotel, because at that point we were kind of over it, we went to this pizza place that was actually pretty good too. Oh, thanks, Chris. Yeah, we're going to do the Troll Pub again as well. But this is another little place that Kyle's talking about. They have a really good Reuben. I remember I had the Reuben there for lunch one day. That was really good. And then I had they had fish and chips that I also had. That's one of the things that you can't get in Texas that's as good as it is in the Northeast. I remember, going to all these fire hall fish fries and stuff. They just don't do that. I mean, they actually did. We actually went to one here in Texas, but they were doing catfish, which was good. It was fine. I love fried catfish, but it's not the same as the stuff that you get, the flaky white fish that you get in the Northeast. I don't know if it's halibut or what it is, but they had good fried fish at that restaurant too. I wouldn't mind going back there again, Kyle. At least we go once and see if it's still as good. If I recall, that they had a good beer selection too. No, it wasn't in Dayton. It was right there in Xenia. I mean, it's like, that's the other big benefit. It's like 10 minutes away, if that. Right? It's like you sneak out the back. Gosh, what do you do? If you sneak out the back, you make a left turn, and it's like 300 yards down the road. I'm trying to think where we've got Cracker Barrel around here. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good. That's probably pretty close. I love, good fish and chips. Yeah, we have some good catfish here. We also get some good crawfish boils, which I love those. We have a few Cajun restaurants around here that are really good, but everybody does crawfish boil around here. Nick's Restaurant. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We'll definitely have to hit up Nick's. That's good stuff. The Crapper Barrel. That's I call Waffle House Awful House. I hate Waffle House. I know we got some Waffle House fans in our group, but I am not one of them. Now, Bob, you're just showing off there. Yeah, anybody who's able to get fresh fish and chips, that's just cheating. But, you deserve that. I mean, we have brisket and barbecue, so we can't have everything. Yeah, I just can't do Waffle House. I just there's too many other great places too. There's a lot of good breakfast places when we go to Huntsville. There's some good. There's like the Blue Plate, and then I'm trying to think there's another little place that's really good. Um, no, they're not 24/7. These places aren't, but they open up really early. I'm trying to remember what the name of that other one is in this little plaza that we've been to a few times. That's another good one. Huntsville actually has some pretty good food. They've got some nice restaurants too. Uh, oh gosh, they have a nice steakhouse that has really nice smoked Manhattans. Where they do the whole presentation. They bring the smoker out and they've got something over the top of the whiskey glass. Those are pretty fancy. Mission Barbecue. Mission Barbecue. I think is that in downtown Dallas? I think I've been there. There's a lot of really great barbecue around DFW. Oh, wait a minute. Mission Barbecue. That's I'm thinking of something else then. So that is a chain. Um, and they also have, yeah, it's a chain. Yep. And I've been to one in Baltimore, Maryland. And it was okay, for a chain. It was okay. I tell you, you get spoiled. Once you come to Texas and you have, real Texas barbecue, right? That's salt and pepper brisket done with post oak. I mean, it'll spoil you quick. Sorry about that, Stavros. Yeah, we've got a lot of really good barbecue here. We've got, Central Texas barbecue, which is really what North Texas does. They do a Central Texas style. I um I mean, I've really fallen in love with it. I've been here now over 15 years, so um gosh, yeah, 15 years. Um I don't think I've had barbecue anywhere else that comes close. Oh, that's funny, Stavros. Yep, they sniffed you out pretty quick. That's funny. Hey, Todd, welcome. The Fat here. We've kind of worked through all of our technical stuff earlier, and we're just kind of BSing at this point. Everyone's getting pumped up and ready for Hamvention, so. Oh yeah, you are a heathen, Jason. That's just wrong. Putting any kind of sauce on Texas barbecue is wrong. It does not need it if it's done well. All you need salt and pepper. That's it, salt and pepper. Post oak is the secret weapon. I probably got 10, 12 quart of post oak on the ground right now that I've got to get cut up. Yeah, I'll certainly eat barbecue, and I'll enjoy it. The regional types whenever I'm in the area, but uh, given the choice, I'd always barbecue. Um, I'm probably not going to go to the banquet. But so AMSAT they have 2 evening events. They have a banquet that's more formal, that's a sit down thing that takes a lot of time. And that's the one I'm not going to go to. But they also do a bar night that's much more casual, that's not as structured, and you can come and go much more easily. So I'm going to do that. I think I am going to volunteer for a few hours. I've got to see where they've got a need in the booth, but I'll volunteer for a few hours in the booth. And when you say a booth, I mean they take up like one whole wing of one of the outside wings of the building, if that makes any sense. So there's like smaller. It's like somebody built a pole building, and then they added wings on the side that are smaller. And AMSAT has half of one of those wings. So it's a big U-shaped type of setup. So I'll put in a few hours there. I did that last year as well. And then, in that couple of hours, I'll get to see everybody that, all the various satellite folks will stop in usually. And, within a couple hours, you can kind of say hi to everybody. Yeah, I'll certainly see Bo. I'll, uh, I'll let him know. Bo's there every year, and I usually see Bo probably 2-3 times a year. So, are you talking to him about the ambassadors program, Tim? But yeah, he's usually in the booth the whole time. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll mention it to him. I mean, he's really good. I'm sure he's really busy right now. So, he'll get back to you certainly, but I'll bump him. Yeah, I told I told them that. Well, I guess I didn't tell ARDC that. Um, but yeah, I'll agree. That process still needs some work. I think it's gotten a little bit better in the last 6 months, but it's got a long ways to go. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else. I haven't spent much time. I've got to do this, and because I usually like to do this before every show, is I'll take a little bit of time and I'll go through all of the vendors that are going to be there and earmark those vendors that I want to make sure I stop in to see, especially any that are new. So I'm looking forward to that. Kyle, I've been spending a lot of time the last couple of days looking at power systems for the truck. I know you had mentioned that you had an interest in some of those various power systems. Man, there's a lot of options, and there's some really cool options. So that's been fun to kind of see what's out there. Dave, I always stop by your booth. You know that. That's a given. Dave, you guys going to be in the same spot, in the same building? And I'll mention, I don't know how much inventory Dave's taking, but Dave usually sells out probably 85% of his inventory the day before the show opens. So you either want to track Dave down on Thursday. I'm guessing he's going to be probably hanging out at the, in the big building. Look at that. Attaboy. You're going to want to track Dave down and buy anything that you've got your eye on. Or you're going to want to be at Dave's booth the morning it opens, right? At the probably 10 minutes before it opens, if you want to pick up what you want to get and take it home, because he will sell out. I've not seen the, I don't even know how you say that. What is it? The Licity? I've not seen that. I'll have to look that one up. I've been primarily looking at the Red Arc and the Victron stuff, looking at all the various options they have. Stavros, are you and Rocklin side by side? N9WVD from Wisconsin. Is that what you're saying there? Welcome. Nice to have you. Let's see. Spec 5's the only other Meshtastic mesh core company there besides Dave. Yeah, Spec 5 will be there. 2 different aisles. Okay. That's nice. I'm really glad to see a bunch of mesh options there. That's awesome. Never got that Yaesu kit from HRO, Ronnie. Boy, that's so frustrating. I've had a couple of other people email me as well, saying that they've been waiting for that separation kit as well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've got to stop by the Yaesu booth and chat about that a little bit. And I'm sure that's not going to be the best conversation. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely have to chat about power systems. Oh, nice. Dave, going big time. Lots of inventory. That is awesome. Well, I think you learned your lesson last year. Dave sold out super quick. Stavros, it sounds like you may be sold out before you get there. Yeah, that's kind of the tough cycle in a small business. Certainly, Stavros. Yeah, HRO is where I actually purchased it from, and they are so quick to point the finger at Yaesu, which, I can understand. So quick. So there's a bracket that comes, Tim, there's a bracket that comes in that separation kit. That's really the one piece that's difficult um, to replicate, right? I mean, all the bolts and stuff. I mean, it's a royal pain because, there's not one supplier that has all of the hardware that you need. It's very difficult. It's going to be really time consuming to manually piece that together. And it's just really frustrating when you talk with Yaesu and they say, oh, we've got all the parts. They're in individual parts, but they won't pull them and make a kit and sell it as a kit. They have to get the kit, which I just don't get. $90 POE outdoor. Is that going to be the new PoE device, or is that going to be the one that you had at Hamvention? Those are really nice devices. Yeah, I've got to pick up. I've actually got mine sitting right here. I've got to pick up that PoE injector because I'll be running it off of a Ubiquiti switch. We talked about that on the stream a little while back. Hey, the good news is none of my antennas came off of the barn. I was really excited about that. So I've got three nodes, 3 mesh nodes on the barn. I've got my tiny GS on the barn, and I've got a Ubiquiti point-to-point small dish on the barn as well. None of those came off. So I was super excited about that. That bracket, does PCBWay make metal brackets and stuff? Will they fabricate metal pieces as well as all the other stuff they do, Ronnie? Yeah, I'm gonna order an FDE Pocket Ranger tonight. So you'll see that come through tonight. No, Kyle, the separation kit is just a bunch of hardware. It's a bunch of different size, metric sized bolts, and it's all fasteners, but there's also a metal plate in it as well. Ted, it's the G5500 separator kit. Yeah, I don't have it sitting here any longer. But yeah, if you look up the Yaesu G5500 separator kit, everybody's got them listed, but nobody's got stock. Right? If you look at HRO, if you look at DX Engineering, if you look at Gigaparts, they all have it listed in their catalogs, but nobody has stock. Yeah, you're going to need the separator as well. That's exactly right. I mean, if there were enough people, I mean, I feel like I'm just going to have to get to the point where I'm going to have to just do all the grunt work and chase down all these different parts and pieces. I should probably, buy like 5X, maybe even 10X of all those different components, put them together, and then be able to help other people out that are in the same boat. Yeah, Tim, if you order one, just think of it as like an old-fashioned Christmas club with the old department stores. You're just giving them money and they're holding on to it, and they're not going to spend it. You'll end up just going and getting a refund. Yeah, Tim, I just don't want to, I don't really want to be in the business of dealing with all that crap. But, if I'm doing the work, I don't mind. I mean, I don't know if there'll be 10 people that need one of those or not. But, I'd do 10 or so and just so I can help other people out. I think it's kind of a niche thing. Tim's ready to go into business. I think, if I recall, I can look it up here. I think they charge like $65 for the kit, and that's the other thing. Piecing it together, you're going to spend a lot more than that. Let's see here. Boy, maybe DX Engineering doesn't even list it anymore. Here, let's try. Yeah, $69. Out of stock. Delivery will be delayed. You will die before you get it, is what it should say. So here's a bunch of what is in it. It's not absolutely everything, though. So all right, Kyle, thanks for hanging out, buddy. Good luck in your game. Watch that elbow. Yeah, that's that's kind of where I'm at, Gray Man. I'm kind of curious. I want to talk with some folks at Yaesu and see what kind of reaction I get. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Yeah, I didn't see it there at DX Engineering though. They didn't have it listed. Let's see if they have. I'm going to do a search. Let me go back and search for this other part number. No. Gigaparts has it as well, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it's really weird when you start to, nobody really knows what all this stuff is, how it works, how it goes together. There's like one guy at Yaesu who knows anything about it. Here, let me switch you guys over. I think I'd shared with you guys before when I was doing my research on all the stuff I would need, and it was really frustrating, right? There's one guy at Yaesu, and if he's on vacation whenever you make the call, which was the case when I called, you got to wait till he comes back from vacation to get any answers. You know, let's see the separation kit here. Giving me all kinds of other crap. Why don't they? Did I not spell it right? What the heck's going on here? Not sure why they're giving me all this extra crap. Let me just do a search for G5500. Whoop, I thought I saw it. Oh, that's for different radio. Hold on. Yeah, so it looks like they don't even list it anymore. I know they used to list it. They probably got tired of dealing with people's questions. Yeah, I'm not really holding my breath. Tim, I'm I'm just curious about. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I am on Discord. I usually close it when I'm streaming, but Ronnie, you can find me. You'll find me under Digital Rancher out there. I can pull it up on my phone. Discord is a pig. It is such a resource hog. Oh, thanks, Chris. I see what you sent over here. Let's see. Robert says, I was a little disappointed in HRO. I ordered a single cable and they charged me international shipping. Oh, wow. Did they not call that out? You would have thought they would have called that out before they hit you with the bill. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that. All right, let's see how we doing here. And we still have about 30 folks hanging out. Thanks for sticking around, guys. You guys have kept me around long enough. I got a second win, so I was really dragging there whenever the stream started. Oh, a TBD on the shipping? Oh yeah, that's rough there. Yeah, that's really rough. Especially for just a cable. Oh, that's brutal. I think we're going to see shipping costs, you know, going up kind of across the board here until things settle down on the fuel front for sure. Oh yeah, that sucks. Sorry to hear that, Robert. I'm surprised they didn't ship it USPS. That's like, that's the best bet. Usually, Tim would know, as a U.S. territory, right? USPS, if you can ship it to, uh, if it's got a U.S. address, USPS is usually pretty reasonable. Not saying they're fast by any stretch. Trying to think what else I've got. I got some interesting items coming in for some reviews, some stuff that's maybe a little bit different, some shack accessories. So those I've got like a great list of stuff to get done, but I got nothing done this week. All I did was put out a couple of shorts related to my power woes. But I've got a good list of stuff, and I've got some extra, like I said, I've got some kind of fun stuff coming in from a review standpoint. So that's some stuff to keep an eye out for. I'm going to want to try to get a few things done here before um before the next week, because this week's kind of the last chance to try to get anything really done before Hamvention, right? Because since I'm traveling on Wednesday, I'll be doing some prep work on Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully I can get a couple of videos done, get one out at least, and then maybe get one scheduled for whenever I am away. Now, when I'm in Dayton, I'll be doing, usually what I do is I'll do like a bunch of shorts every single day. Just kind of showing what's going on, things that I see, things that are new, things that are interesting. Just to try to get that out so folks that aren't going to be at the show, again, can kind of see what's going on and get a sense of, those kinds of things. So instead of trying to edit a video or something while at the show, I usually just shoot out a bunch of shorts. So keep an eye out for those. And if you guys have interest in anything in particular, please let me know. Capturing a 1 minute or 2 minute short on something you guys are interested in, I'm happy to do that, right? Because it's quick and easy to do those. They're really not sophisticated. They're kind of quick, on the fly type shorts. But if there are things you guys want to see or you're interested in, just let me know and I'll get them out. Let's see. Tim says, I'm super interested in the SDR GNU for the Golf T. Yeah, and I'm sure they'll have some stuff there. I'm going to start making a list. Make it on my phone here so I've got it easily accessible. Okay, Tim, I got you on the list. If you think of anything else that you'd like to see, just let me know. Or if, I send out a quick short on something and you guys want more detailed information, just let me know that as well. Yeah, I always go to the forum. I'll likely try to do like I did at Hamcation and try to do an offhand recording of that as well, so people that can't attend can see what's going on. Let's see. Bob says mobile antennas, getting ready to install radio in my Jeep. Antenna ideas. So, the kind of the regular cast of characters will be there. I'll look for anything that might be unique or different as well. But Comet and Diamond will certainly be there. But there's, those are pretty straightforward usually. And you say it's for your Jeep. We'll see what they recommend. Usually, the tricky part is getting the right mount. That's usually and that's the thing that when you talk to these guys in person, I mean, it's impressive. They know right off the top of their head. You give them a specific vehicle and they'll be able to, boom, point out exactly what mount you need. For Grand Cherokee. Got it. Is that a newer Grand Cherokee? '17. Okay. All right. Let's see. Under the hood seam mounts. Yeah, those. You mean ones that maybe you bolt down to a fender bolt and they slip right out of the seam? Those are nice. Yeah, you bet, Bob. We'll see. We'll see what they have to offer. If nothing else, it'll give you, just something to see outside of the regular marketing material. The old NMO through the roof, right? Get the drill out. So maybe I'll spend a little bit of time at Lido Mounts. See if they have anything new. I mean, I know they'll be there. They always have some great solutions. Robert, which radio are you going to be installing? they've got several options that work in a lot of vehicles, right? Their mounts are very very flexible, and they'll work in a lot of vehicles. Oh, nice, the 2730. Nice. I know exactly which mount you need then. You've got there's kind of that's kind of a modular option. You have the mount that holds the head itself, and then you have a couple of different options to hold the head. But yeah, they actually the last few years they've always had a 2730 as a 2730 head as a demonstration unit on their table, so you can see how it's going to work. 2015 Chevy. Okay. RAM mounts. Yeah, that's another good solution, right? Those RAM mount X grips, I mean, they hold everything. Snow friendly antenna mounts. Yep, I can understand that. Hey, Cooley, thanks for hanging out, buddy. We'll see you next time. Cooley put in a long shift here. He was probably 30 minutes early. Yeah, I've got to go through. I've not spent much time. Let's see where you got. There we go. Bullet point mounts. They make some really good mounts, especially if you've got a dash that has an inset. I'm looking at doing like a bullet point in my new truck for some of my gear. We saw another one too. There was another one at More Expo. Track Point, I think. Let's see. I think it was called Track Point. Was it Track Point? Maybe it was 2 words. Track Form. This is it. So this is another one to look at, Robert. These guys, I'll show you the one I'm looking at here. So I've got this dash style here, and there's a little pocket that goes right up in here. So you get a little insert that goes right in that pocket, and then that gives you a mounting place for your radio heads, your cell phones. So that sits right down in that pocket. So it's really nice and clean. And then they've got, yeah, there you can kind of see it. Just kind of sits down in there. And then they've got all different kinds of options, right? You can get kind of a ball type of head. And these are really solid. They're all aluminum. They're really well made. So this is one option. And this is more universal type stuff. And then they got the bullet points. Let's see, you said you had a 17 or 15. So depending on your dash style, this is the type I've got. But they've got a similar type of thing, right, that goes down in there. So that gets your head kind of up here. And then if you have even more stuff, right, you can go with these mounts. And these slide under the bolt that holds your seat down. So you go with something like this. Gives you all kinds of adjustability. And then, let's see, right here. They've got mounting solutions that go right, that you can then attach to that arm. They've got a couple of different ways to do that. Because I need to get a couple of radio heads and a tablet mounted. There's one solution there. Now they're showing this in a cup holder, but you get the idea. They have something that'll just hold the head. Yeah, those seat bolts are really great. And I tell you, they're really reasonable too when you compare them to other options and solutions that are out there. So those are some good options there. Track form. I got to remember that track form. All right, let's see. Oh, there's some. Maybe this will be the year I buy a better soldering station. There's a guy there. All right, let me find. I want to see the list of vendors. Where do they have it? Let's see. Vendor listing, here it is. I know they always put it in a weird spot. All right, let's see. I think this is the guy right here. EAE Sales. Oh, this guy, he has, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. EAE Sales. This guy always has some great stuff. He's got these Luxo, these really high-end magnifying lights, but he always has a bunch of refurbed, really good soldering stations. He's got, you know, all the different bench tools. Oh, he's got, I always pick up I always pick up some of these Lindstrom. He'll have like some of these Lindstrom tools that are, I don't know if they're refurbished or what. Maybe they're reground. I'm not sure. He has new ones too. But some of these, some of these things are pretty expensive. But these Lindstrom tools are just, they're so nice. I mean, you see the cost of some of these things, right? $70 for some flush cutters. Let's see, soldering equipment. But he usually has some good deals on some Hakos and some more kind of commercial style soldering stations. This guy's always outside. Let's see. Oh yeah, these lights. These lights are crazy. Wait till you see the price on some of these lights. Boom. It's crazy, right? But I mean, they're so nice. They're so well done. These things are so slick when you see them in person. They're crazy expensive, though. Camper progress has been pretty slow. I mean, I was gonna meet this week with some folks and talk through the electrical stuff, but like I said, my whole week's been shot because of not having power for most of it, and then just kind of dealing with all the crap. Oh, okay. Let me see what you got here. Let me see. Discord. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Let me find it here. In here. Where are you at, EOD? There you are. All right. Let me switch this over. Do I have this? Hold on a second. There you go. Yeah, so this just uses the bolt for your seat. You loosen it up, slip it in underneath, tighten her back down, and then you've got all kinds of flexibility here with the way that they design the arm. It works really great. You can just throw that lever right there to reposition it. Of course, you can loosen this, and you've got like a ball head type for positioning. That Robert, in my ranch truck, I have a signal stick running on a signal stick mag mount. Right, it's a little different because it has a BNC connector on it. But I've had that on that ranch truck for over 2 years. Might be 3 years at this point, but at least 2 years. And I did tape up the connection, right, to try to help it from a waterproof standpoint, and that's really worked great. And I'm always surprised at how well that little signal stick gets out. It's crazy. Yeah, those mounts are really great. All right, let's see. Let's see what commercial vendors. I'm going to do a quick scan here and see. I don't remember these guys. AA3DP. Here you can get a sense for AMSAT, right? 1007 through 1010 and 1007 through 1110. Let's see if they have a floor plan here somewhere. Yeah, so let's look at building 1. This is the main building here. Let's see. How do they show? Well, we'll just look. Building 2. I'm trying to see. So they have like wings off of the sides on these buildings. I'm trying to see how they have those represented. You know what? Let's look at this first. Overview of all buildings. Yeah, so the AMSAT, I think those guys are in building 2, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, they're in building 1. They are in building 1. Yeah, so here's what I mean by, so you got the primary building 1, and then you got like this wing that comes off of it. AMSAT's got this whole corner here. They got this whole, this is all AMSAT. And then SatNogs has historically, the last couple of years, they've been here. Arrow Antenna has been here at 1106. You've got the Fast Scan TV guys. They're down here, if I recall. Let's see. So this is building 1. So let's dive deeper into building 1. Do they list these by building? Let's look at this building 1. This is probably better. Yeah, so this whole section over here, this whole top section, that's AMSAT. Let's see if 1006. Oh, they're showing that as 1. Oh, no, 1006 and 1106. Let's see if SatNogs is going to be there again. They have an alphabetical order. They do. Maybe they're not going to be here. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see them. So let's see who's going to be in 1006. Oh, Libre Space Foundation. Yeah, so that's the same. SatNogs Libre Space Foundation. Okay, so they've got both spaces. And then let's see if 1106 here is Arrow Antenna again. Yeah, where'd it go? Yeah, Arrow Antenna, 1106. Trying to think who else was kind of, they have like all the satellite stuff kind of together there. Let me see. Who else was down here? Let me see, the 1001, 1002. I think that's where the, well, oh, Wolf River coils this year. Oh, I think they may have been there last year. Maybe it's a little bit further up, 1003. Oh no, Bridgecom. Oh, that's 1103. I went 1003. Amateur Television Network. Yeah, that's same. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. Oh, Eris. Let's see. 4301. Where's Eris? Eris is usually over by M squared. Let's see. 1403. I don't think they're in this building. I think they're in building 2. Let's pull up building 2. Oh no. Did I get that wrong? Let's go back through here. Eris. Oh yeah. 4301. So they're not in 2. Are they in Flint? So let's see. They didn't put them in here, did they? No. They're in one of the big buildings. Well, okay, let me look at something else instead. Let's go. I want to see if M squared is going to be here. Yep, M squared 3302. Hey, there's LowMesh. 3302. They're usually around, I'm trying to get my bearings here. 3302. So they've put them somewhere different this year. Because they were, maybe not. Maybe that's the same place. I thought they were maybe up here where 3306 was, but that might be it. 3302. And then let's see, 3106. Is that where the Canadians are? The Canadian guys that make the rotators. Let's see, 3106. Trying to remember those guys. 3106. No, that's Tower Electronics. Oh, crap. What's the name of those guys? So the rotators are there with Green Heron. Let's see if Green Heron is here. No. Gosh. Who's the Canadian rotators? Do you guys remember? Let's see here. Gosh, driving me nuts. I can't remember those guys. Let's see. PST or PSR? No. Oh, what is it? It's daggone it. Spitz. Is that the name of their product? The Spitz? Something like that. Spid. Spid. That's the name of the product. I mean, these guys make some beefy rotators. Here we go. What's the company name? All right, let's do for the Spid rotators. Oh. Yeah, so green heron, they're usually paired with green heron. And you can see these are some spendy solutions here, but these rotators are crazy. It must be just Spid. I thought it was something a little different, though. I know they're made in Canada. They have the worst website, though, that you've ever seen. If you can ever find it. Alpha. That's it. It's alpha. That's the part I was struggling with. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? I told you it was the worst website. Let's see, does this? Yeah, so none of this does. Trust me, these guys have the most. I mean, these rotators are phenomenal. They just have a really bad website. But anyhow, so they're there. Let's see who else catches our eye here. Alpha antenna will be there. Bad Dog Tools. What the heck is Bad Dog Tools? I don't recall that. Bad Dog Tools. What are Bad Dog Tools? Oh, it's actually just tools. Okay. Get your drill bits and your titanium or diamond saw blades. Let's see. Batteries America, huh? Big Signal Ranch, Bird Technologies, Boondock Technologies. It's nice to see Mark there. Let's see, Buddy Pole. Oh, Carlson's going to be there again. Good. I haven't talked to those guys in a little while. I'll have to stop by and see what they're up to. Let's see here. First Robotics. What is this? I don't remember this. First Robotics Competition. So these are STEM programs, it looks like. That's interesting. The Lido mount was on his radar. Credit card came out. There you go. There you go, Robert. Yeah, that HD is, that's the one you want. Gotcha, Ted. Yeah, I think that'll work for you. Let's see, flagpoles. Flex radio, free DV, frontline gadgets. We all love gadgets. Frontline gadgets. Is this in Tennessee? Oh, oh boy, these are gadgets. Okay. All kinds of little things. You get a few of these types of vendors. These are the ones that usually come and go. Hamsci, nice. Ham gadgets. Actually, there's some pretty cool stuff here. Let's look at this real quick. Let's see. Got some pre-round toroids. Save your hands and your fingers. Paddle leg plate. Some little paddles. Just all kinds of little things. Okay. Ham log, ham source. ICOM. ICOM locks down a big corner. Information station specialists. Kenwood. That's good. Hopefully they don't pull out. Jarl will be there. Stop by and talk to those guys. Libre Space Foundation. Linux in the Ham Shack. There's our LowMesh buddy. If you guys are there, pick up the Mastrant samples, I'm telling you. N3ZN keys, they have some great stuff there. There's some great keys. He'll usually have like one or two new colors or something. I've got one of his keys. I've got it's kind of dusty. I got this guy right here. It's a nice key. It's heavy. which I really like. It's the same as this orange one here. Bought it on QRZ. Let's see here. NOAA, National Radio, Amateur Radio Alliance, VOA, Pete Brothers. What are these guys? What's Pete Brothers? Song and Wind. How you doing? Good to see you out there. Did Andy sneak in? Oh, there's Andy. How you doing, Andy? Good to see you, buddy. We're just kind of hanging out. Oh, is this one of the weathers? Yeah, there's two different weather station companies. And they put them in the same building, just kind of across from one another. It's kind of interesting. Let's see, QRP Labs. Hans always has some good stuff there. Quicksilver Radio Products. It's always a good stop. Radiodity. TO will be hanging out with those guys again. Oh, the Rocket Machine Works are going to be there. That's good. There's Seed Technology. Nice. Buddy Dave will be there. There's Spec 5. Daniel will be there. It'll be good to see those guys. Ooh, want to stop by the Tapper booth. The competition. That's interesting. The Elmer brand. That one doesn't ring a bell. Tuftelin. Good to see Joshua there. Unitrend. I got to talk to those guys again. W5YI licensing. These are the guys that helped us get our club licensing squared away earlier this year. Real easy to work with. Wolf River Coils, Yesu, Youth on the Air. So, a lot of the characters that you'd expect. A lot of the standbys, a few new ones here. Let's see if Bagali's got anything interesting that they're showing off here. These guys always bring just a couple with a unique color or something too, and they always sell out first. Let's look at their limited edition. Oh, those are old. Ooh, what's this? WRTC. Oh, look at that. That's fancy looking. I wonder if they'll have some of those there. That's kind of, not that I would want one like that, but I could imagine there's some people that'd be interested in that, especially if someone's competing in it. But they'll usually have like a couple of different colors on some of their standard keys. So always fun to look at. They do have a small one, Tim. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, they're in their same spot between ICOM and Flex Radio. Let's see. What do they have? That's their portable-ish one. It's a, I think it's, well, let's see. Is it this Adventure? So they have a, okay, so they have this Adventure, the Adventure Mono, and then this Magnetic Traveler. So this Adventure is pretty small. Let's see if they have anything that kind of shows. But this one's pretty small here. This will give you an idea, right? So they offer mounting brackets for the KX1 and the 817. So that gives you an idea that this one's pretty small. So they got that guy. And then this is essentially the same thing, I think. But I think it just has a single. Is that the same picture? Oh no. So it's just got a single swing arm in there and it doesn't have two arms. Yeah, that's what it is. And then this is, they've had this one for a long time. This is still a pretty good size key. I mentioned see Dave. I saw you there. Maybe you missed it whenever I went by it the first time. I said our buddy Dave will be there. N9WVD, thanks for hanging out. We'll probably chat a bit more about it next week. I didn't expect to go into this. We just kind of wound up there. The Magnetic Traveler Light. Did I miss that one? Where's the Magnetic Traveler Light? I missed that. Where the heck is that? Oh, there it is. Oh, so it's very similar. Oh, no, this is the one I was talking about. Yeah. Same one. This thing is kind of an interesting design, right? It kind of packs up and folds up on itself, but it still kind of gives you a full-size key experience when you pull it out and set it up, where, this Adventure is pretty small, right? It's more kind of like this size. So I forget, what do they ask for this one here? $308. They're spendy. They're nice, but they're spendy. Song and Wind. I'm an extra who has never used an HF radio. Well, that's all right. I mean, there's obviously some other aspects of the hobby that enticed you into getting the more advanced license. And maybe it was just a learning thing. And I mean, That's all good. It's all good. Do you have any desire to play with an HF radio? I tell you, there's some pretty cheap ways to get in there and play with it if you just want to play with it and try, see what's going on. Yeah, that's it can certainly happen that way. Things can always get in the way, no doubt. Yeah, and moon bounces, right? Those are the things that those are big commitment type of. At least they seem like big commitment types of endeavors in my mind. Let's see. I want to find out where Dave's at. Where are you, Dave? You were in 3803. That's probably the one. Okay, here we go. 3803. Oh, okay. So you're in the wing. 3808. Radiology had kind of this whole like 3811 to 3808 last year, I think. Let's see where Radiolity is. See if I've got my bearings. I don't want to lose that number. What was it? 3803. How do you spell that? I'm not even sure. I know they've got a big thing here. Let's just find them real quick. Yeah, 3810 to 3811. Oh, they only... Okay, 3810 to 3811. Let's look. Okay, so they're just in these two end ones. I think, well, that might have been where they were. For some reason, I was thinking they had more than two tables here. So you're in the same, I know. Okay, so, and you're right around the corner. Dave, you got a great spot here, dude, right? When you're right by the door, right? Everybody has to walk by. That's a great spot. And this is on the way out to the campground area. So I walk past there a ton. Let's see. Here's building 3. And the campground area is right out here. So yeah, you got a great spot, Dave. FM satellites are a great way to stay tuned. Minimal equipment. Yep, for sure. Boy, I tell you, Las Vegas area now is booming with 2 meter, 70 centimeter, like crazy. So, all right. Well, that took us down a little meandering path. That was fun. But I think I have hit the wall, gang. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Nice to have you out there in the stream. We're just kind of getting to the point where we're going to shut her down here. The week is finally catching up with me. I've lost my second wind. But I want to thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate everybody staying late and just talking about Hamcation, getting ready, or Hamvention. I always do that. Let's see here. Song and Wind. I was in Henderson for 15 years. Oh, that's great to hear about Oregon. I go out to Vegas at least once a year in December, late November, early December. And the last couple of years, it has just exploded. I think it's been going on a little bit longer than that, but I mean, you can just set an HT on your windowsill in a hotel, and I mean, you could, if all you wanted to do was listen, you could listen, and you'd hear almost constant chatter if you were scanning the 2 meter, 70 centimeter band. Very, very active now. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, and just to give you a preview, Sean, we talked about setting up your Meshtastic node with the Hamcation or Hamvention configuration without replacing your firmware. So if you have one of these LowMesh devices where you don't want to lose the firmware because that's where all the secret sauce is in the great battery life, you can still configure your device to chat on those channels and keep that secret sauce in place. So that'll give you a little preview. Expect in the regular or in the primary topic. So Hendertucky. Yeah, Bob, I mean, I was just I think I did a couple of shorts this past year where again, I just had the HT sitting on the windowsill, which usually isn't great to begin with, right? Because a lot of the windows have some sort of coating on them or a film on them that oftentimes will interfere with RF. Let me see, this year I was in MGM, but yeah, I just put the radio on the windowsill and I listened to a few nets. Now I couldn't transmit great from where I was because it was an HT and I was indoors, but I could listen with no problem. So, all right, gang. Well, again, thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you guys watching the videos, commenting, all those great things. It's great to interact with you guys in between live streams. So I do appreciate that, and hope to see a bunch of you at Hamvention. But we've got one more stream before then, so we'll come up with a good topic and we'll chat some more about it next week. So until then, though, we'll see you next time. 7-3, gang.